Okay, first of all, apologies for my voice. It started, Greg, at the end of yesterday's show, and then I had a spot to read for one of our sponsors. And by the end of it, fried. Hasn't come back. See, the thing is, I don't know if I'm sick or I'm just losing my voice, because I don't feel sick, even though I couldn't sleep last night. And I've been up since about 2:30, 3 o'clock. Haven't gone back to bed. So it's going to be a tough one for your boy today.
But I
don't feel sick, but luckily, I have lost my voice before.
You've got yourself a verbose co-host today, as per usual. I'll be in fine form because it is American Thanksgiving this Thursday, so no MvsW twice a week, just once a week. I will be discussing American Thanksgiving later in the program. For those who want to stay tuned, it's very exciting.
I'm interested. Little Willie Styles, by the way, saying Jeff going through puberty again on the chat. So not yet, Willie. Soon, though. One of these days.
Whenever I hear you with a froggy voice, you know which broadcaster I think of? And I don't know if this is anybody in Canada even knows who this cat is.
Who's that?
Scott Ferrell.
Yeah, Scotty Ferrell. I know. I used to go on Scotty's show all the time. So Scotty Ferrell, for those that don't know, Scotty Ferrell's got a great hockey side to him. So Scotty Ferrell was a radio play-by-play voice of the Atlanta Thrashers. And do you know the story? He got in trouble for making up plays.
No, tell this story, because I honestly don't know this story.
I just know the short strokes of it. Yeah. That I'm trying to think. Was Billy Jaffe his color commentator with the Thrashers? You know what? Ben Wright, if you're listening, Ben was like the social media manager of the Atlanta Thrashers and listens to the program. If you're listening right now, text me, Ben, and let me know. Was Billy Jaffe the color analyst? But Scotty Ferrell was, as my voice leaves me, was the radio play-by-play voice of the Atlanta Thrashers, and I believe, like, when he was bored, he just made up plays. No one could see it, so, like, what the hell?
Hossa gives the puck to Kovalchuk. Kovalchuk passes all the way back to Lightning.
I used to go on his Sirius XM show all the time. I loved going on with Scotty.
Yeah, for those who don't, like, Scotty Ferrell was like was a syndicated sports talk radio host. In the States, but maybe you guys heard him in Canada too. A lot of, I think, overnights was
big time. That's when I would listen to him. Yeah, between him and Art Bell, I would bounce back and forth. I've always been a huge radio geek. So Art Bell and Scotty Ferrell, those are my two.
What was the year John Carlson beat the Canadians in World Juniors? You remember that year? You probably remember
that never happened.
Let's say hypothetically your therapist is wrong.
I think that. Was that the year that it was in Saskatoon?
I think whatever year it was.
The year that it was in
whatever
Saskatoon.
Year it was. It was my favorite guest spot I ever did on Ferrell's show. I remember I was in my basement on my phone talking to Scott Ferrell. We're just chatting about the league.
What do you think about the Thrashers? What do you think about the Oilers? How did this? You think Ryan Smith's going to help?
And he was watching the World Junior game.
Yeah.
And then we were just chatting, and in the middle of my answer, I just remember Scott Ferrell going,
"We got him, Johnny Carlson!"
And then he starts going, "Fuck you, Canada! Yeah, Canada, suck it!"
2010. I'm not, and I just did a Google search. I just did a Google search for it. 2010. I'm not going to watch the video again. But also, I just got my hate on for giving up 2-on-1s and Martin Jones.
Picture me in a basement standing next to a stone fireplace on a cell phone with the phone out here, listening to Scott Ferrell just scream about Canadian junior hockey for the better part of 25 minutes, it felt like.
That's awesome.
Tremendous.
Yeah, that's lovely. Hey, you've heard me go on before about how I think Adam Foote belongs in the Hall of Fame. Because one of the places in the Hall of Fame where they always fall down, well, two places, goaltenders and defensive defensemen. They're cleaning up the goalie category now in the Hall. Defensive defensemen, not so much, even though they put Kevin Lowe in a few years ago. I want to change why I want Adam Foote in the Hall of Fame. I don't know what the category, maybe builder. Maybe if one day they have a podcast wing in the Hockey Hall of Fame, I want him in for giving us the best name for a potential hockey podcast out there, to the point where I want to rebrand this entire outfit. Cigarettes and Cashews.
Cigarettes and Cashews. My friend Down Goes Brown said that would have been a Canucks blog within 5 minutes of that quote hitting the internet. That is absolutely true, because back in the day, boy, we needed more Canucks blogs, didn't we? It was an epic quote. it asks some questions that I don't think have been answered sufficiently for me yet, which is that was he referencing Russian content farms and saying that they are responsible for the majority of hockey analytics? Was he referencing Dmitry Filipovich, who sounds Russian, and assuming that he is in the basement and developing hockey analytics? But more important,
hang on, pause on that. Dmitry worked for Calgary.
Yeah, I think so. Right?
Time, right? It was the Flames. It wasn't the Canucks. It was the Flames, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you might be right on that. I'm not positive. And then the last thing, and here's a little thing about Greg. I have never smoked a cigarette in my life. I have not smoked a cigarette in my life because my parents smoked when I was growing up.
Right.
And I saw their absolute struggle with quitting and the hold it had on their lives and the damage it did to their bodies. Does Greg smoke cigars at least twice a month, maybe 3 times, maybe 4 times? Of course he does. Does this seem hypocritical? Probably, because I feel like a cigar is like 25 cigarettes rubber banded together and then you smoke it. All of this preamble leads me to my point, which is that I have never had cashews whilst smoking tobacco. And I, 1, want to know where the combination came from, and 2, want to know if I'm missing out. Am I missing out? Do cashews enhance the tobacco flavor? Does tobacco enhance the cashew flavor? Is it like a wine pairing? And I'm just not hip to it because I don't live in Adam Foote's social circles. I don't know.
You know what's really good? Like cashew eyes. Speaking as the vegan of the combination here.
Cashew milk.
Cashew cheese.
Cashew cheese
is amazing. It's almost identical without all the dairy stuff. It's fantastic. No. But it was but you're right. It's such a weird combination. Like, is he thinking like Russian bot farm, implying that analytics are some like conspiracy fueled by Russian propaganda in order to influence the young hockey minds, but are completely fraudulent to deceive coaches and general managers into making bad trades and drafts?
Zach on the digital show right now asking, are cashews and cigarettes an underrated pairing? I think, honestly, it's a great question, and we need Adam Foote to answer it. His whole rant was obviously the 90th variation of an anti-analytics rant for a team that obviously has bigger fish to fry. So here's my theory on Jim Rutherford or whomever, Patrick Alvey, whoever, sending out a memo to all the other teams about the Vancouver Canucks listening on their veterans. My theory is this. Jim Rutherford woke up yesterday morning. He saw the story on The Athletic about it being the 1-year anniversary of Chris Drury sending a memo around the league saying that players like Jacob Trouba and Chris Kreider were available. And Jim Rutherford said, draft me a fax. I've got to tell the folks I've got a great idea on how to motivate the team.
I gotta get me some of that. That's worked out so great for the Rangers. Yeah, I gotta hop in that pool. Not the shallow end either. I'm going in the deep end. Not the 3 meter spring. I'm going way up to the top there. That's how I'm diving in.
We can get to that in a second, but like I think transparently this is a motivating factor. I think the fact that the language was specific to listening on veterans rather than shopping veterans, rather than negotiating with the agents of veterans, I think is a telltale sign that this is one of those let's start having some people freak out about trying to tell their families they might have to move across the continent. I don't think this. I mean, I think it could probably get to that point, but more to the point, though, Marek, like it's really hard to take this seriously when there is so much trade protection on this roster right now that the only people to be nervous, I think, are like what Evander Kane and Kiefer Sherwood at this point.
Hang on. I have a thought on this one.
Please do.
But I want to get to the opening here. I'm gonna let you know. Because it's funny. I was gonna mention this on the show yesterday. We didn't get to it. So I'm gonna mention it today with you, where there'll probably be fertile ground. So the Blueprint is powered by FanDuel. Download the app today and play your game on FanDuel. Coming up on the program, he's already here, just having a sip of a tin right now. It's Greg Wyshynski from ESPN and ESPN.com. Joins us every Tuesday and Thursday, but not this week. But he going to be stuffing himself for U.S. Thanksgiving, or as he calls it, stateside Thanksgiving. We'll talk about the Nashville Predators. Greg writing extensively about them at ESPN.com, and Barry Trotz. Glad, Greg, by the way, that you asked about him coaching We'll talk about the Vancouver Canucks a little bit more coming up after I stop rambling here. Teams falling off. We already did a little bit on weird interviews. More of that coming up. I do want to talk about, if we get a chance to reminisce about, who was it? Mark Borowiecki's interview with Eugene Melnyk, which as far as cringe goes, maybe the cringiest thing I may have ever seen in hockey. Thanksgiving trivia? This is what you're bringing today? You're bringing tea-giving trivia? All right.
For those who do like a good game show Friday, there is going to be a little bit of a quiz for Mr. Marek. I'll handle the quiz master duties because we have to preserve those golden pipes. But Marek will be answering some American Thanksgiving questions. Folks, with a hockey twist. Twist.
Okay, so back to my thought on Vancouver and what they're doing now.
Okay.
A lot of this is always a sort of semantic dance of, we're not trying to trade these players, but we'll always listen. Teams will always say that because they don't want their teams to know they're shopping players. But what do you think happens in these conversations with general managers? Just one side listens and doesn't play along and doesn't, advance conversations. I'm okay. Here's what I wonder about this, because I first started hearing about this on the weekend. And I think your point is the right one about trade protection all up and down the Vancouver Canucks lineup. Again, I'm not reporting this. I'm saying it feels this way to your boy Jeffy. It feels like he's trying to figure out, or him and Patrick Allvin are trying to figure out where he can get the most, either from someone like Connor Garland, Evander Kane, or Kiefer Sherwood. Now, Kane is on an expiring contract. Sherwood's on an expiring contract. Sherwood's been a darling to kick off the season, and everybody with playoff aspirations looks at him and says, man, we need a guy like that for the postseason. And Connor Garland's got 6 years.
Connor Garland has a contract that hasn't even started yet.
He's not even on his new contract yet. But the thing is, his no trade protection doesn't kick in until July 1st. So Correct. If you're going to do something and do the Vancouver Canucks, do it now. And teams do this all the time. Okay, I need to know what the marketplace is for these players. This isn't shocking news. This isn't some revelation. Teams do this all the time. There comes a certain point in the season when they say, okay, I need to know what's out there. I need to know what I can get if I pull the trigger on this player, that player, or a combination of these players. I think that's all Vancouver's doing.
But teams don't even have to do this. They just get called. You think Craig Conroy needed to send a fax to the other general managers to let him know that he'll accept calls to see how much he can get for Rasmus Andersson? Obviously, if a team is struggling, other GMs are going to try to circle the vultures like they did in Nashville already to see if they can pry something away.
Well, okay.
But hold on, Marek. What makes this ridiculous is, like you said, Pettersson, no move clause. DeBrusk, no move clause. Roenick, no move clause, and they said they're not looking to trade him when Elliott did his report last night. Marcus Pettersson, no move clause. Tyler Myers, no move clause. Evander Kane stinks. Kiefer Sherwood is shooting 28% this season. Do you really think that there's going to be a gigantic market for someone who is
but it's not
on the cliff of regression at any point this season?
When it comes to Sherwood, the goals are the bonus. Teams just love the way this guy plays. No one's saying oh wow, he's gonna turn into Yari Curry in the playoffs. So no one's saying that about Kiefer Sherwood. What they're saying is we need that style of player in the postseason, regardless of the goals.
What does trading that veteran do for you? Other than save you some money on his next contract, assuming that you want to bring him back. My point is that Brock Besser was $7.25 million for the next 7 or 8 years or 7 years. If anyone wanted him, they would have signed him or tried to sign him in the offseason. He wanted to stay in Vancouver, fine. Who's going to take on that contract? Connor Garland, like you said, isn't even on his new contract yet. They're in such a pickle right now. You can go out and announce to the league, come trade for our veterans. How many of these guys actually can move? How many of these guys will move with the contracts that you've given them?
The thing about, I'm glad you brought up the point about teams calling, because yes, that happens, but it's not all general managers that talk to every other general manager every day. There are some, and I'll bring up a name to you. I just had this conversation with someone on the weekend, because on Friday's show, I was talking to Dave Pagnotta, and we were talking about the Ottawa Senators. And I got a text from someone who is in a position to know. Let's use it that way. In a position to know, who said, here's the thing you need to know about Steve Staios. He calls managers relentlessly, even about things that he might not even be interested in, but just to get the lay of the land, because you never know what you can get. Staios is really aggressive, and also, and not all guys like this, Steve Staios loves the grind. Not every general manager loves that grind. And you just think it's like, oh, just make it a phone call. These phone calls are complicated and interesting, and at times angry and confrontational. Staios loves that. Like, if you're an Ottawa Senators fan, you should know this. You have a GM that's really aggressive, that's in on a lot of conversations, and loves grinding other general managers, and maybe even sometimes over things that he's not really interested in, but you never know what can fall into your lap. But there aren't 32 general managers like that. No, there's a lot of managers that'll just check in and go like, hey, you know what? Just keep me in mind. Hey, you know what? Just, if something happens, like, hey, circle back here. Because you don't want to be in a situation where, like when the Boston Bruins were trading Joe Thornton, and the deal was consummated with the San Jose Sharks, and all of a sudden all these other managers were calling Mike O'Connell and saying, we would have given you more. What are you doing? Why did you narrow this? Like, I remember Keenan telling me, like, the deal that they were working on was Luongo for Thornton 1-for-1. And then at the end of the day, the Florida Panthers owner, Alan Cohen, said, we're not taking any money back. And all of a sudden, what could have completely changed the course of history, Joe Thornton goes to the Florida Panthers, and Roberto Luongo ends up a member of the Boston Bruins. Therefore, we never get our Tim Thomas versus Roberto Luongo pumping tires line. Oh, no, goes by the wayside. But not every manager is like that. That's why I think, like, putting things like that out, it can bring more GMs under the tent to make phone calls who otherwise might not. I do understand it.
Sure, that's fine. But I mean, like, bringing us back to the reality of the Canucks roster, it's great to say that your veterans are available. It's another thing that to actually get trades on the table for some of these guys where, one, they're going to waive for them, and two, the value coming back is commensurate to the player leaving. Wherein, look, maybe there's somebody out there that sees Connor Garland on 1 year and then 5 others at $6 million and says that is the deal of the century. I'm glad he's locked up. Bring him on. But I also think there's a lot of managers that are just like, I'd rather not be locked into a player I didn't even sign. So I think this roster is fraught with problems. Obviously, looking at their record.
God, yeah. Totally.
But it's also fraught with contractual obligations to players that the Canucks have put on these guys by bringing them back and agreeing to conditions that makes the majority of this, like 80% of this roster, untradeable.
Does it not? The other sidebar to all of this, by making it known that veterans are available, does that not just sort of usher in or speed up or accelerate a Quinn Hughes move? Like, if you're Quinn Hughes and you're seeing this, it's like, and you're gonna get rid of all the vets around here. Thanks for making this easy, or making this easier, unless the decision's already been made and it just hasn't been public.
Well, I just don't think they're gonna ever rebuild. I mean, I just don't. I think they're gonna try to retool, and
I agree with that.
And go with the younger guys and try to sell Quinn on the idea that he's the franchise pillar of a team that's pivoting into something different and something better. And they're going to throw a ton of money at him and hope that he stays. Like, but at the same time, like, I don't think that they have the assets to do anything dramatic to really change the course of the franchise that doesn't involve trading Quinn Hughes, because that would change the course of the franchise. The bounty you would get back for him could be the foundation for the next phase of this team.
Right, and it starts with Simon Nemec as the obvious target.
It does. Talking about the Devils. I was messaging back and forth on Twitter with somebody this morning who's like, wouldn't it make the most sense for Quinn Hughes to get traded to Detroit? I'm like, yeah, it would. And every Devils fan's nightmare right now is that he goes to Detroit, Jack leaves in 2030, and then they need to trade for Luke. And now all the Hughes boys are where they want to be, which is in Michigan.
In Michigan, where they live.
Yeah, exactly. So that sucks. Don't trade him to Detroit.
But listen, that's the team that missed out on him on the draft, taking Zadina over him.
Now,
and he fell into the laps of the Vancouver Canucks.
And then Jack's closer to Canada, where Tate McRae lives, and the whole, it all makes sense.
I guess a little bit, but I mean, does Jack Hughes now want to get traded to Calgary? Is that what we're doing here?
The number of Tate McRae fans, by the way, that are on Twitter who are discovering Jack Hughes through their dinner date. We assume it's a date. And then discovering that there are two other Hughes brothers that both play in the NHL with Jack. It's like a Taylor Swift fan discovering Jason Kelce. Like it's crazy that we are now educating an entirely new fan base about the Hughes brothers.
Did you guys see the one about Hughes? I have to bring this up. Sorry, they said it was a quote about a picture of Quinn Hughes, and it said, "This brother is cute, but he looks like he's experiencing an existential crisis."
Well,
wow.
I mean,
Whoa.
yeah,
he's just come back from serving 2 tours with 1,000 yards there.
No one can accuse Tate McRae fans not being perceptive. That's really funny. By the way, I should say my daughter Vivian is a huge Jack Hughes fan, and also a big Tate McRae fan. So like, I asked her, I'm like,
wow.
Your worlds are colliding right now. How do you feel about this? And she's like, I'm not sure, but I'm kind of happy. I'm like, are you prepared for Tate McRae to be the Taylor Swift of the New Jersey Devils? And she's in the owner's suite during the playoffs, and I don't know. I don't think she had a response to that. I don't think she wrapped her brain around that idea yet.
Oh man, the NHL has its own. The NHL has its own Taylor Swift. Okay.
Well, let's talk about Nashville, right?
I want to do Nashville with you. So your piece was interesting, and by the way, thank you for asking Barry Trotz about the idea of him going behind the bench. What did you think of his answer?
So the beautiful thing about doing this show with you again is that we cook up so many ideas on this show, and 90% of the time, if I get a chance to run those ideas past the principles in real life, I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
just to test the theory. So one of them, obviously, that we've talked about a bunch of times is Andrew Brunette has this year and next year on his contract.
Yep.
Barry Trotz slides in, takes over the bench, and on top of trying to salvage the season, is trying to prove that the team he built is good enough to succeed. And they just needed a different coach. So on the one hand, I said, hey, like, are you going behind the bench again? And he said, look, the thing about me you got to know is that when I commit to something, I turn the page on what came before. So when he decided to become a general manager, he said he turned the page on his coaching career. The example he gave was he had a house and a home and a life in Nashville. And then when he signed with Washington to take over as head coach, he sold everything in Nashville. He didn't keep a house there because he wanted to make a clean break to dedicate his entire life to his new team and his new community. And so that's the example he gives. And I'll take his word on the idea that he's not a coach anymore until, as long as he's a general manager, he's not a coach anymore. Does he miss it? He misses it. But I also asked him, the Brunette thing, like he's got this year and then next year on his contract. Does that play into the thinking that you don't want to pay someone not to coach? And Barry said that's not a factor in any decision we make. And the decision they make, by the way, on Brunette, and this is important, is there's three factors. One, Barry's an ex-coach. He's going to give this guy as much leeway as he possibly can because he truly believes it's not the coach or his staff, it's the players that are causing the Predators to be the worst team in hockey. The second is that David Poile gave Barry Trotz a century basically behind the bench to figure out his stuff and had years and years and years of job security. And the third thing, and I was concerned about this story coming out today because I do wonder if this condition has changed. Barry told me before the Florida game that no one in the organization above him had pressured him to think about making a coaching change. Now, they get absolutely curb stomped last night.
That was so bad last night.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Lifeless, positionless. That was, I don't know, like how much statue practice can one team do in one game? Well, that was it. That was the Nashville Predators.
And Brunette said it last night. Like they lost the game in the first 11 seconds. Like AJ Greer scores in the first 11 seconds of that game, and now everybody's shoulders are slouching. Now everybody's lost the will.
By the way, at home.
Yeah.
That's not lost on up top. That's not lost on Bill Haslam. That's not lost on like the office above the manager.
Nor should it be. So Trotz told me before the Florida game that they had about 8 or 9 games to try to show some upward mobility, show a little flicker of hope. And if that doesn't manifest in the next like 8 or 9 games, then maybe some tough conversations need to be had. He said he hasn't talked to any of the veterans himself about their future. He told me he has talked to their agents about what could be coming down the pike eventually. Yeah. But like, if you want to say that the Predators are open for business, I don't think that's accurate right now. But like 2 weeks from now, it could, maybe even less than that, it could be very accurate. And the Brunette thing, who knows? I mean, like I think Barry said, if anything comes down from above, he's going to have to start really considering it. So who knows what happened after that Florida debacle?
I don't think there's any U2 shows coming around anytime soon that can help salvage a season. Sorry, it's the obvious joke. No U2 shows coming around that can salvage a season for the Nashville Predators. Like honestly, I don't know how much more you need to see.
Yeah.
If you're Nashville and if you're Barry Trotz, like here's the thing: when you're a veteran player like that, like it's not really going to change in this environment. If it's a younger player, you say to yourself, hold on, there's still a ceiling here. There's still room for growth and learning and blah, 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 blah. But we're talking about Steven Stamkos and Jonathan Marchessault and Brady Shea and UC Saros, who got pulled last night. Like, this is a veteran team. There's only so much that you can expect a veteran team like this to change during the regular season.
Yeah.
I don't know why you need to wait another couple of weeks. Like, what's another couple of weeks going to do? Just completely put you behind the 8 ball. And maybe that's a strategy at this point all along. Like, listen, if the idea is to go get a first overall draft pick, don't do anything. Don't do anything, because what you're doing is taking you there. But if the idea is to have eyes for the future, then maybe do something.
I once talked to a GM about the idea that you want a lame duck coach behind the bench because you just want to be as bad as possible.
Yeah.
And he told me, it's not that I want to be as bad as possible. I just want to be terrible by the end. Like you just from April 1st on, you just want to lose everything, right? Because then it doesn't matter anymore, and it's the end of the season. But you know
who our favorite? Do you remember who our favorite was for that?
Who?
Tim Murray.
Oh, yeah.
GM of the Buffalo Sabres, trying to get Connor McDavid. Every goalie that made a save, traded, waived, sent away. That's not what you're here for. So I'm a goalie. Stop stopping pucks.
Yep.
We're trying to get Connor McDavid. Enough with the saves. Get out there and be hard to hit.
By game 81, the Buffalo Sabres were starting a wet piece of tissue paper in goal. In the hopes of
starting. I thought you were going to say Taro Sugimoto in net.
Taro Sugimoto. But in the end, Marek, it wasn't McDavid. It was Jack Eichel, who they drafted, in the words of Tim Murray, famously. But again, stop me if you've heard this one before. Philip Forsberg, no move clause. Steven Stamkos, no move clause. Jonathan Marchessault, no move clause. Eric Haula, limited no trade clause. Roman Josi, no move clause. Brady Shea, no move clause. Josi Soros, no move clause. Now, granted, I do think that a few of these guys will want to move. I am sure Jonathan Marchessault would love to move. I wouldn't be shocked if Brady Shea wanted to move. The Stamkos part is intriguing to me because, one, you got to find someone that wants to believe that he is better than 4 goals in 22 games. You need the Predators to take a part of that $8 million annual salary to get any return back of some note. But like, we know how close this guy is with his family. We know that they've relocated there in the hopes that it was going to be a new home. It's a place he chose because he liked to live there. I do ultimately wonder like how much of that is going to play into him executing the clause that was given to him in his contract if they come to him and say, we want to move you.
I'll give you one more complication. So he signed this deal playing in a no-tax state. Is he going to waive to go to a high-tax state?
It's a great question.
Essentially saying, yeah, I'll agree to waive this no-move clause and take a pay cut. Because that's what you're doing. Like, I always think back to Ryan Ellis and how, like, Ryan Ellis, when he got traded to the Philadelphia Flyers, like, that was a haircut. Like, that was a pretty big haircut that he took going from Nashville to Philadelphia. And it was always told to me, like, if you sign a deal in a no-tax state, specifically Nashville, you need to get trade protection. Because generally guys would sign for a little bit less, knowing that it's a no-tax state. All of a sudden, if you're traded to like Pennsylvania or New York, all of a sudden, if you don't have trade protection, you're off to these places, you're taking less money. Your trade is making you poorer, and the team can't compensate you. To which is why I always come back and say, like, what the NHL and PA need to do, I don't know, my should do is get together and figure out a way to compensate players for waiving no move clauses. The only way you're going to get around this is to compensate players for waiving it. Hey, Steve, the standard going rate for waiving a no move is $500,000, or depending on how high the salary is, $1 million. If you agree to waive your no trade, you get $1 million. That's the only way. Otherwise, if you're Stamkos and say, "Hey, Montreal wants you," half my check. Why am I going to do that? It doesn't make sense. That's the other complicating factor in all of this.
Would you give the players the ability to then waive the fee if they really want out, or do you have to buy out the no move clause?
What do you mean? Like, no, if you're going to trade, if he has a no move clause, first of all, you ask the player, like, listen, let's say for sake of argument, I just said Montreal Canadiens want Steven Stamkos. You go to Stamkos and you say, "Hey, Montreal's interested. We have this deal. Are you interested in going to Montreal? And if you accept, the trigger for the $1 million bonus or whatever it is kicks in automatically, and you get compensated for waiving your no trade."
Well, so this is my question to you.
Yeah.
Barry Trotz goes to Jonathan Marchessault. Johnny, we got some great news. The Vegas Golden Knights want you back. You can get your old house back. They love you. You can play with Riley Smith again. Problem is, I don't know if you noticed, our team blows. So we haven't sold enough hot dogs this year to the fans. So we can't afford the money that it takes for you to waive your no move clause. So we can send you to Vegas where you'll have a chance to win a cup and play with Riley Smith again. But we need you to waive your no move clause and your no move clause fee. And then we can make this happen. What say you?
I think the best case, first of all, the answer is a hard no. Second of all, the best case scenario for that, because otherwise it's give me something in exchange for nothing, which is not business, that's charity. And last time I checked, the NHL was not a charity. I think the best thing you can do is okay, you know what? If you're up against it right now because you haven't sold enough hot dogs, you haven't sold enough jumbo Cokes, we will not waive it, but we will park it in the future.
Okay.
It will become a balloon payment somewhere down the road. And it won't. And by the way, Barry, it won't be $1 million. It'll be
Jonathan, I just want to let you know, like, have you ever seen the movie Titanic? Now, remember when the ship hit the iceberg? Now, imagine the iceberg is made of shit. It's just a giant shit iceberg, and we're about to slam into it, and the entire deck will be covered in shit. That's the Predators right now. I'm telling you, I can get you back to Vegas. Waive your fee.
Waive your fee, or I'm not doing the deal? So that's the hang over them? Waive your fee, or I'm going to send you somewhere else. You're just going to ride here?
Would they have the ability to then waive their fee, or is the PA going to be like, you can never waive your fee? I don't know.
No, the PA would be, the best thing the PA would say is we'll defer it. We'll defer it a year, or we'll defer it 2 years. Okay. Yeah, I can't see that. But anyhow, I just think that's another complicating factor. And when you're trading players away from places like Tampa, especially recently signed players like Marchessault and Steven Stamkos. The other thing to all of this is, too, whether it's Philip Forsberg, whether it's UC Saros with the no trades, you say to these guys, like, look, we're going through a rebuild. Go look at your birth certificate. Do you have the patience for this? Do you really want to go through this? I know we had our one Stanley Cup run and we fizzled out against the Pittsburgh Penguins, and we're at the end of the line here now. And do you want to go through a rebuild? I know you've been here forever, because if you don't, we can find a market for you.
The only thing I didn't ask Barry, because I was kind of running out of time.
Yeah, I
didn't ask him about Askarov. Now, I think his answer will be, we made a judgment based on UC Saros re-signing, and there'd be no room for him to take the job. Yep. I think probably the subtext is also attitudinally they weren't in love with Askarov. But I mean, on top of everything else this season, to look over at San Jose and see the rough outlines of a franchise goalie that you've given up.
Listen, at the Nashville draft, that was a rumor on the floor in the first round that Nashville was trying to get up to 4 to get Will Smith, and one of the players in the deal was Yaroslav Askarov. That was pretty well known around everybody. Yeah. That's what they were trying. They wanted to make the big splash with the draft in Nashville, and now Askarov and Will Smith are playing together.
Yeah,
on a team that's right there, maybe making the playoffs, as we talked about with Drew Amanda last week.
It's just stupid. It's just like one headache after another. But I do think. Listen, I think the selling will start pretty soon. I imagine O'Reilly will be the first one out the door because he doesn't have any trade protection. Because, quite frankly, it's the easiest move to make, and a guy with only a year left on his contract after this one, and what team that believes they've got the makings of a cup contender isn't going to try to trade for Ryan O'Reilly to be on their third line? I mean, come on, it's an obvious move. So we'll see what happens there.
The Buffalo Sabres. They're going to make the playoffs. They've won 3 of their last 4. He's going back to Buffalo. To Buffalo. Yes.
Yeah, they got a little heartbeat now, don't they? Their playoff odds.
3 of the last 4, baby.
Yeah.
Look at them go. Amazing what happens when Bill Guerin's in the building, looking at Tage Thompson and Alex Tuck. Look at these performances.
You mean how Bedard is going to win the Selkie based on how he played against McKinnon the other night?
Yeah, going up against Nathan McKinnon, all of a sudden he's Bob Gainey.
Yeah, Jesus. Because the Team Canada brass from the building. It's insane.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's the thing. That happens. Hey, one of the things I wanted to mention with you is this. We talked about it at the beginning of the year. And my answer, glibly, was the Los Angeles Kings. And so far, I'm wrong. And this is, every year in the NHL, there's a team that has 100 points that the following season doesn't make the playoffs. Happens. Last year, we looked at the Boston Bruins, for example. I don't know if Zach has the graphic built, but last year, the 100-point teams, were this. We had Winnipeg, Washington, Vegas, Toronto, Dallas, Kings, Bolts, Avs, and Oilers. Missing this year based on their trend and where they are at, Toronto, Winnipeg, and the Edmonton Oilers. I don't know. And again, we're a quarter way into the season. I don't know many who would have picked those 3. And by the way, I'm a little disappointed in you right now.
Why is that?
Because we've talked now for 38 minutes, and you haven't once pointed out that if the playoffs started today, there'd only be one Canadian team in the postseason. That's the Ottawa. Normally you have a nice little chuckle about things like that.
I don't buy the Thanksgiving voodoo this year. I think there's going to be a ton of teams that are on the outside looking in that are going to jump back in the picture this year.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I do agree with that. But anyhow, does any of that? The one thing that surprises me again so far are the Los Angeles Kings. It wasn't looking good for Tampa early, but they're at like 12-3 in their last 15, something like that, and they look fantastic. But I don't know that I would have looked at this and saw Toronto, Winnipeg, Edmonton. Now, Winnipeg, it gets even worse because of Connor Hellebuyck. And that's why I think that, listen, knees are really, listen, this is just your buddy, Jeff, concerned here. Listen, knees are really important to a goaltender. I think the best thing that Connor Hellebuyck can do is take a pass at the Olympics as well. I really think that Connor Hellebuyck, even if he's healthy to go, because the NHL team is the one that pays his check. And I'm not just saying this as a Canadian hockey fan. I'm just saying this as someone who's concerned about Connor Hellebuyck's health. I really do think that he should take a pass.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Italy
maybe
has
Jake Ottinger too. Maybe Jake Ottinger too. Because Dallas has big plans this year. Maybe Austin Matthews might want to just, you know what? Too dangerous.
There's a lot of churches in Italy, a lot of stained glass. Might want to keep Jack Hughes away from the Olympics. Charlie McAvoy should be aware of they're going to use pucks, I believe, in the hockey tournament.
Are they allowed to? I don't know.
I
haven't looked at the IIHF rules lately. Are they allowed to shoot high, or is there no raisies in the tournament this year? Are there raisies? Okay, there's Razy.
I think there's a lot of wine glasses and stuff in Italy as well. Jack Hughes might want to avoid that.
They gotta keep Jack Hughes away. Yeah, exactly. So I understand what you're saying. I do worry about the Jets. I'm actually pleasantly surprised that offensively they didn't take as much of a tumble as I thought without Ehlers, but they're still not great. But losing Hellebuyck's a big deal.
They're old. But they're the NHL's oldest team. That's why I always worry about the oldest team and injuries, because you get a bunch of guys in their 30s, and all of a sudden, like 2-4 turns into 4-6.
The team that you thought the Kings were going to be are probably the Leafs, right?
Yeah, but I didn't think the LA Kings would be as bad as the Leafs are right now. Like I didn't think first overall in the draft bad, but that's what the Toronto Maple Leafs are. Like poor Zach, we're keeping him off balconies, we're keeping him off bridges. He's playing that like draft simulator nonstop. His mother and I are very worried about him. He needs to go touch grass and go have a walk and put the laptop down. Like it's awful. It's bad.
So the deal with their first round pick,
top 5,
they can keep it, right? Zach, can they keep their first round pick if it's top 5?
Yep, top 5 protected.
Okay, so like again, I don't understand why everybody's like super worried. They'll go to the draft, they'll be in the lottery, they'll miss the playoffs. They don't have Marner. Oh my God, what are we gonna do? You draft Gavin McKenna. There, problem solved.
Another winger coming in.
Solved.
I don't think anyone thinks for 1 second that means problem solved.
I'm saying it. Problem solved.
And that's fine. And that's fine. A couple of things I want to get your thoughts on as well, include, but are not exclusive to, we haven't talked about this yet on the program, and I don't know, again, like one of the things, like if you ask managers candidly, the answer is always like, yeah, of course. Would you lie to protect your team? And the answer is always, yeah, of course you would. Totally you would.
They always do.
No, I know that. They'll never say that. No, we always try to be transparent. We're the most transparent organization in the NHL. After all, we make ourselves available and blah, blah, blah. And that's fine. The Don Maloney comments about no rebuild here in Calgary. When I see that coming from someone like Don Maloney, what I think is that's really coming from Murray Edwards. Mm-hmm. Like that's really coming from ownership. Like Jim Rutherford can talk about no rebuild, not going to happen. And we all know where that's coming from.
Right.
Just like Don Maloney. It's the exact same thing. He's not calling that shot. Murray Edwards is calling that shot. Jim Rutherford isn't calling that shot. Francesco Aquilini is calling that shot. Do you see it the same way? Because I think Maloney's just sort of there to be the face of the message of ownership. That's not his grand idea.
So you don't think that Jim Rutherford has more autonomy than that? I always thought, based on his track record, he was more in the Lou Lamoriello camp of you take a step back and let that guy cook. But you think he's just a proxy for the ownership in
No,
Vancouver?
I think for some, it's a good question, because I think for some decisions, I think Jim has complete autonomy. But as far as like massive sea change decisions for the Vancouver Canucks, that still goes to the owner. That's why we keep talking about the best quality you can have as a manager now in the NHL is not how to manage down, it's how to manage up and how to manage your owner and how to manage those messages. That's why I look at that and say, like, okay, that is coming from above. That's not Don Maloney saying there'll be no rebuild here. That's an ownership decision.
I'm thank you for bringing up the Flames, because I've completely forgot what my hobby was going to be this year, which is to go back to last season and see how many people were writing stories about them turning the corner and being on the right track, and they've got it all figured out. That are now writing stories about the team being in the absolute dumpster. I'm sure there's probably some shared bylines between those two genres that just haven't gone back and looked at who.
As we all knew where this was heading, then that fool's gold last season.
Overpraising the team to now shanking them in the side.
It's all right. Happens. That happens. Who was your favorite? I want to circle back to Adam Foote and the cigarettes and cashews, because I threw this out. Do you have a couple lined up here, Zach? I threw this out on Twitter X earlier today. Actually, I should just call it Twitter because that's the name it was assigned at birth, and I'm told that that's how it has to stay if it's assigned at birth. So I'm gonna still call it Twitter. With the one that I keep coming back to, like, do you have like your absolute cringe moment? Because mine was a Mark Borowiecki interview with the late owner of the Ottawa Senators, Eugene Melnyk. Zach, do we have that? Do we have any piece of that?
Yep, we do.
Okay, let's revisit some of this love.
Yep.
What's the plan here?
Well, I think there's a few things that we're hoping to accomplish. I think what our fans are looking forward to, and I'm looking forward to, is a season that's like fresh and brand new. Something that we can look forward to with young players coming in. And I think we can gel them into something, a very, very serious team. Much bigger than a lot of people, I think, believe. Right now, we're kind of in the dumpster. Everybody says, they're not going to do anything. Yeah. And I don't believe that. I think that, with character in the dressing room and people working very, very hard, we can accomplish more than a lot of people believe. Yeah. And it's, a lot of people said things in the last year. I think when I signed up for an owner, I really didn't expect going through something like we did last year. It was a tough year for us everywhere, in the offices, on the ice. And now we're starting off fresh. A lot of things have been changed. And I think that this year is going to become one of those watershed years for us.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we're pretty excited, I think.
How's the dressing room?
You know what? I think that was kind of a question that I was going to ask you, too. We've got some characters in there. It's professional hockey. There's a lot of unique personalities, unique people, strong personalities.
Right.
And I think we need to find a way to gel, to kind of make some chemistry.
All right. I think we got enough of that one. Had you forgotten how great that was? Talk about like the awkward moment of interviewing your boss when the questions are going to revolve around two things: are things great or really great?
I know. I saw we took it from Facebook that had real Mark Zuckerberg being interviewed by one of his underlings vibes. By the way, people on the listening to the podcast didn't see it, but like Eugene Melnyk is wearing an Ottawa Senators jersey. And you know what? That's fine. If you're an owner and you want to wear a jersey, that's fine. But for God's sakes, don't wear it over a button down. What are you guys doing? I know that we call it a sweater, but it's not a quarter zip. Any owner that wants to wear a jersey over a button down, you look like an asshole. So don't do it.
Oh yeah, you know what? Yeah, for everyone watching on YouTube right now, Zach has fired this back up without audio. Yeah, that's a tough look.
It's the classic. But my company has season tickets. I don't want to look like a corporate stooge, so I'm going to wear this ill-fitting jersey over my button-down at the game, and it just is. It's a terrible look.
You know what it is, though? You know what the golden rule is?
What?
He who has the gold makes the rules. That's it.
Oh, that's true. I mean, you can wear whatever you want.
Yeah, wear whatever you want. You own the team. You could have Mark Borowiecki interview you.
You could force all the players to wear button-downs under their jerseys on the ice. You can do whatever the hell you want.
Good idea, boss. Every 2 weeks, thank you. Every 2 weeks they say thank you, and I'm really happy. Do you remember the roast beef sandwich line from John Tortorella in Vancouver, 2013, when he was asked about players on Twitter? And he said something about, oh, God, I wish I had the quote. You know what? It's funny. Someone, it was Joey Kenward, our buddy from Vancouver, sent me the quote. Do you want to hang on? Just filibuster for once. Oh, here it is.
Yeah, here it is. Okay, here it is. I don't have to filibuster.
Here it is. I think Twitter. Imagine me doing John Tortorella's voice.
Okay.
I think Twitter is stupid. It's tremendous for charity work, and our dog walk in New York raised a ton of money, but not for, quote, here I am having a roast beef sandwich and saying hello to my fans. That's ridiculous.
It's funny because back in the day, before the rise of Instagram, that's what Twitter was like, literally checking in and taking pictures of your lunch.
That's what it was.
And then Instagram kind of like market corrected that. That's really funny.
Instagram said, no, we'll take the pictures of the plates. We'll make
the pictures look even better. Yeah.
Yeah, make the pictures look great.
And then there was no more pictures of food. And the Nazis were like, oh, great, more room for us. And they all hopped on Twitter. Great stuff.
And that's the story of Twitter X.
Right, there you go.
Yes, well done. Okay, so one more thing here I do want to mention, and that is this segment, Greg Wyshynski, is a presentation. Oh, is this the one I want to have? Yeah, it is. Okay, this segment is a presentation of Prime Monday Night Hockey. Prime Monday Night Hockey streams all national regular season Monday night NHL games on Prime Video in Canada and is available free to Prime members in Canada. Prime, I really hope I'm going to make it through this read. Here we go. Stream Prime Monday Night Hockey exclusively on Prime Video and experience thrilling goals and dramatic plays from the NHL. Monday nights are hockey nights. Don't miss a moment of the action. Monday, December 1st, the Winnipeg Jets head to the KeyBank Center to take on the Buffalo Sabres. Puck drop at 7:30 Eastern. Check out the link in our description. We call that the Howard Truck Bowl. Check out the link in our description for the Prime Monday Night Hockey schedule on Prime Video, or go to primevideo.com/NHL. Also on Prime Video, Faceoff inside the NHL Season 2. Subscribe with a 30-day free trial to Prime Video to watch Monday Night Hockey and the new season of Faceoff. Download the app or go to primevideo.com.
Also on Prime Video,
yes.
Also on Prime Video, a station that plays the Japanese version of Iron Chef 24/7. That's a station that I have had on in the house many times while I'm up late with a newborn, just watching some old Iron Chef.
You can get behind that. All right, what's this Thanksgiving game show
Marek,
you have that's going to torture me?
Thursday is American Thanksgiving. There are many traditions in American Thanksgiving, many of them shared with Canadian Thanksgiving. I think we're all very precious.
Can I ask you a question? Have you been in hockey long enough that you always call your Thanksgiving American Thanksgiving?
I don't always. I do it within the context of talking to a Canadian.
Okay.
Like when I'm talking to an American, we're just like Thanksgiving. When I'm talking to a Canuck, I got to be like, I better specify before they yell at me.
You know what else is exclusive? I was thinking about this the other day. You know what else is exclusive? And maybe you can tell me otherwise because you follow a lot more sports than I do. But you know the expression, he hasn't pissed a drop all game? Is that just hockey? I've never heard any other sport use that. Am I missing something? How was he last night? Oh, I didn't piss a drop. He was awful.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's hockey. I'm pretty sure
that's just hockey, right? Okay.
Yeah.
That's
hockey or the Westminster Dog Show. One of the two. Those are the two venues in which you hear that phrase the most.
Okay, that's a good line. I like that. That's good.
We share a lot of dishes. I think on Thanksgiving, we share a lot of traditions, family time, all of it. But the one thing I think that we have that you don't have, is the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in New York City. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like, is there a Thanksgiving Day Parade somewhere in Canada I'm not aware of? On that scale with balloons and shit?
There's always a Santa Claus parade.
Okay, that's different.
I know it's different. I don't know that I've never been to a Thanksgiving Day parade. I've been to plenty of talking about Santa Claus parades this morning with my son. Remind me to tell you a story about Santa Claus parade when we're done here.
I shall. So as you know, the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade takes place in New York City every Thanksgiving morning. Giant balloons and also lots of floats. Now, you guys may or may not know this, but the National Hockey League on several occasions has had its own float in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade alongside,
I like where this is going.
The Jolly Green Giant and all these other floats. Like, they have a float there in the parade. So what I've done here, Marek, is I have 7 National Hockey League Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade floats. And some of them are real and some of them I've made up. And it's your job to tell me, is it real or turkey?
No, you know what it should be called? That little shot at your buddy? Turkey or tofurkey. Is it real or is it fake?
Or you just say real or fake. I don't give a shit. All right, here we go. A float titled NHL's Most Valuable Hockey Dad, sponsored by Miller High Life. Was that an actual NHL float?
Ultimate Hockey Dad. I'll say yes.
The answer is it was a turkey. No, it is a fake float. The real one was actually the NHL's Most Valuable Hockey Mom in 2019.
Okay.
So there was a valuable hockey parent float, but it wasn't for dads, and it certainly wasn't sponsored by Miller High Life. For God's sakes, Marek, there are children at this parade.
Oh, right. Very good.
All right, so 0 for 1. Question number 2. A float featuring Wyclef Jean of the Fugees singing What Happened to Love. Is that a real or fake NHL float?
It's real. It's true.
That is correct. Wyclef Jean, one of several musicians that have been on NHL floats, including American Idol contestant Kelly Pickler and CeeLo Green, who of course performed as part of Gnarls Barkley. He sang "Crazy," if memory serves. So you're 1 for 2. Question 3: a float on which kids took shots at a 12-foot tall turkey goalie.
That totally sounds true. I think Charles Wong tried to get that turkey to dress for the Islanders too, once upon a time when he owned New York. So I'm going to say yes.
That is correct. It was, in fact, a 12-foot tall turkey goalie used on several incarnations of the NHL Thanksgiving Day Parade floats. So now you are 2 for 3. Very exciting.
I know my hockey parade.
Question 4. An NHL float that honored the 1967 expansion that featured surviving members of the California Golden Seals.
You mean Jill Malash was on a was on a float? I'm going to say no.
That is correct. That is not true at all. I know that you have such a hard-on for the 1967 expansion and also the California Golden Seals.
So Craig Patrick would have been on that float. Jill Malash would have been on that float. Rick McLeish would have been on that float.
I mean, what Thanksgiving isn't complete without Rick McLeish? They all say.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So you're killing it. So you're what they go 1, 2, 3, 4. You're 3 for 4. Question 5: a float titled "Future Hockey" in which kids dressed as NHL players with laser sticks.
I'm gonna say no.
That is correct. You've sifted out again. There were no laser sticks. There was no future thinking in hockey. In fact, most of these floats involved all sorts of old people.
By the way, it was Reggie Leach, not Rick McLeish.
Including some former players. So we get to our next question, Marek.
Hang on, I'm what am I here? I'm 1 for 4? 1 for 5.
No, you've gotten only one wrong. You're killing it.
Oh, dude, I'm owning this. Game's awesome. I love this game.
Was there an NHL Macy's Day Parade float featuring Flyers goalie Bernie Parent?
This sounds totally like a Bernie Parent thing. I'm going to say yes.
That's correct. 2018. What the NHL did on these floats, ladies and gentlemen, was they paired up a couple of retired players. Obviously, active players couldn't be in the parade. They're going to be playing hockey the next day, for God's sakes. So Bernie Parent, Mike Richter, Eric Lindros, and Adam Graves, Mark and Marty Howe. These are some of the big names that have floated along in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
In one of the Stanley Cup parades, speaking of Bernie Parent, the late, I've always maintained the best angle goaltender of all time. I still maintain of all those goalies in the 70s, Bernie was the best. One of my favorite parade stories of Bernie, I don't know which cup it was, the first or the second. Bernie had to, midway through the parade, drop the kids off at the pool. So left the parade and knocked on a random's door to go use the washroom.
Really?
Yes.
Amazing.
It's a great story. Awesome. Whoop. Nature's calling. Bernie's got to go. No, the story that I wanted to tell you, I don't know if I've ever shared it. When I used to do open
We have one more question.
Oh, we got another one?
One more question.
How many questions
you can tell your Santa Claus parade story.
Okay, it's a bad one.
Finally, a float collaboration between the National Hockey League and Hostess Cupcakes called a Salute to Ice.
That is Greg Wyshynski. That's totally Greg Wyshynski. Not a chance. No way. No how. Last call. No.
That is correct. You got 6 out of 7 on that quiz. One of your best quiz performances, I think, in the history of MvsW. Very impressed.
I
will note that Zach decided to put underneath the quiz Deliverance banjo music. It sounded
it was an odd choice. Odd choice.
Which I would say nothing to do with the Native Americans and the Pilgrims, nothing to do with New York City, where this parade is.
No, nothing. Nothing whatsoever to do with Thanksgiving.
we have a music library to be able to select from for the show. And I searched Thanksgiving, and that song was called Thanksgiving Turkey Shoot. And I was like, this works.
That works, yeah. It. So did you accidentally hit Ned Beatty squealing like a pig and then play that track? That was
you tell Amel that to stop payment on that check. We are not paying for this library if that's what Thanksgiving music is coming up.
Marek, not to get all wrestling, but let's remember one of the most iconic themes in the history of wrestling. The NWO theme was royalty-free music that Eric Bischoff discovered. So you never know what's lurking.
Is that true? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was like a temp track.
It was like
a funk temp track that he selected, and it ended up being the song that everybody remembers from the NWO. Yeah,
that's amazing. You want me to wreck the Santa Claus parade for you?
By all means.
Everybody watching and listening, you ready for me to wreck the Santa Claus parade for you? What am I hearing? Okay, here we go. Close your ears if you don't want the Santa Claus parade ruined. Now, this may be exclusive to the Santa Claus parade in Toronto, but this is years ago. Years before you and I met, I was hosting an open line show, 7 to 8 or 7 to 9, Monday to Friday.
Jeff Merrick's Love
AM
Lines.
640. That's right. You had to call with your marital problems, and the single guy will solve it. Hilarious. It was a station that was aimed at middle-aged men. Nobody was married. On the whole, it was amazing, except for the morning show. Everybody else has 3 or 4 divorces. It was called Mojo Radio, Talk Radio for Guys, the all-new AM 640. Everybody was divorced.
Oh, traffic and weather together on the 8s.
Okay. On the ones, yes. So I had this producer who would always be like really cool guests, like off the wall, people from, I want people from the city. Like, give me people from Toronto, like that don't get a voice or a platform. And so one day he brought in a sex trade worker.
Nope.
And I remember talking to her and asking her towards the end of the interview, and it was only like 20 minutes. I said, every industry has like all hands on deck time, a day, a week, a month, or whatever, where it's like the busiest time. What is it for your profession? And I would have figured like Valentine's Day, like days that can be lonely for New Year's, right?
Yeah.
And she said, Santa Claus parade. I said, what? She goes, Dad drops the family off and then goes to look for parking. And I couldn't find parking anywhere. I had to drive and drive and drive. Wow. So we make more money faster on Santa Claus parade day than, like, we all know, like, rest up the night before, because Santa Claus parade day is where we make a lot of money, and really fast too. Dad goes to look for parking. I just wrecked the Santa Claus. Next time you see the Santa Claus parade, just imagine. Think what your boy Jeffy here told you.
That is just a lot of people on the naughty list, ladies and gentlemen.
Right away. Right, Dad's got to find parking. There's no parking anywhere. Sorry, hon, I'm late. 45 minutes.
On an open garage.
Couldn't find parking anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywho, you got anything else before I wrap up for the show today? Now that I've wrecked that for everyone.
No, man. Give a read of the Nashville thing. I think it's good. I think it's a good
excellent.
insight into
it's really good.
That team and where it's at. And then everybody have a good rest of the week. We've decided to host Thanksgiving this Thursday.
Oh yeah. Nice.
In our 2-bedroom Brooklyn apartment, because we need home ice advantage for the kids and naps and everything.
Yeah.
And I will tell you,
yes,
that my brother-in-law and I are going to try to deep fry a turkey for the first time. So
I thought you've done that before. Have you never done that?
No, I've never deep fried a turkey before. I've deep fried many other things, but never a turkey. So I just want to say that there is probably like a 15% chance of this being the last time you hear from me.
Does it come with paddles?
I love you all. I appreciate you all, and thanks for supporting the show.
All right, and as Zach mentions on the digital show, the article is pinned on our chat, so you can go check it out right from there. It's excellent. Listen, I wish you and your arteries all the best. I wish you and your family and all of my neighbors all the best on Thanksgiving on Thursday. We will not see you, Greg, but please be kind to yourself and make good choices.
I'll make good choices. By the way, I'm less concerned about the artery of it all than I am the explosion of a propane-filled tank of oil. That's kind of what I was referring to. I've never done this before.
Have you done?
If anybody has any tips, please send them my way. For I'm a little nervous about. Best case scenario, we shoot this thing into orbit. Like it just somehow just fires into the
Lisa Simpson style.
Yeah, but worst case scenario, I blow up Brooklyn. It's one of the two. We'll figure it out.
All the best. Godspeed. We'll talk to you in 7 days. Be well.
Bye.
There is Greg Wyshynski from ESPN and ESPN.com. Hey, Zach. He bellowed. Did I just ruin Santa Claus Parade for you?
I walked by it on Sunday, so it's kind of disturbing how
looking back
coincidental that
you
is.
You will never ever look at Santa Claus Parade the same. My jaw, I was just like, I'm running through all these like different days where I'm thinking like, okay, it's all hands on deck. She's like, nope. Santa Claus.
Pretty shocking discovery, I must say, to find out that that's the most. Because I was on the same page as you. I'm like, Valentine's Day.
Yeah, like a lonely day, like single guys,
Yeah.
Maybe Christmas if you're lonely. And she's like,
or like
close.
the day after or something. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Seasons changing.
The parade. I also didn't
parking.
like how you threw in there, and obviously you're relaying information, but make a lot of money, and then the money part, end quickly.
Quickly.
Great.
Yeah, got to move on. No, we're not sticking around the chat. Got to go. Other guys are trying to find parking.
Yeah. The other dads, they're looking for parking.
They're looking for parking. I gotta help them out. Straighten some things out with those guys. All right. I think we're done here.
Yeah.
I think we're done here. I think we're done with
I would agree.
I got to save my voice for Del Manor tonight. Looking forward to this night. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll talk about it tomorrow. We've had a lot of fun with these people at Del Manor. We'll fill you in tomorrow. Philly, you're going to be there tonight, right?
Yes, I will.
Oh, wait a minute. Sorry.
You want me to do it for you?
I am not done. No, I'm going to, you know what? I said I was going to do it. I'm going to power through all of it. Okay. The sheet is powered by FanDuel. I'm going to hand the recreation over to you in 2 seconds, though. The sheet is powered by FanDuel. Play your game with FanDuel. It's the NHL season, and FanDuel is your home for all the action on the ice. From Blue Line to Bet Slip, we've got you covered all season with unique promos, live offerings, and more features to let you play your game. Missed puck drop? No sweat. With a live same-game parlay, you can build your bets up until the final buzzer. Download FanDuel Sportsbook today and play your game. Please play responsibly, 18 plus and physically located in Ontario. If you have questions or concerns about your gambling or the gambling of someone close to you, please contact Connects Ontario at 1-866-531-2600 to speak to an advisor free of charge. Zach.
Keep this one simple. The NHL knew we have a busy night. They knew you were under the weather, Jeff, so they did this accordingly. Get you some rest, get you to bed early.
Should be a good game, though.
We obviously have something else. We have one game on the schedule tonight. Dallas at Edmonton. The Dallas Stars plus 114. The Edmonton Oilers minus 137 at home here tonight.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of all we got here. I'm just keeping it simple for today with the one game. And by the way, it was as pointed out in the chat yesterday or the comments.
Yeah.
I gave out that point parlay.
Yeah.
Nobody got points. So no one, I think, got points of that. So
yeah.
I might just leave these guys alone right now and
go for it. It's
breather, maybe, and then come back. Yeah.
Go for it.
But that's what I mean. Tonight, breather, one game.
Right.
Come back tomorrow.
One NHL game. A couple of other games you might want to have a peek at. PWHL back in action tonight is the home opener for the Montreal Victoire. And our favorite around here, Aaron Ambrose at Place Belle. The Victoire coming off a 2-0 loss Sunday in Boston, and the Sirens blanked Ottawa on Saturday for Cobb. So Montreal opening up tonight, and the Canada-USA Prospect Challenge as well. Man, we had fun at this last year. Game 1 tonight in Calgary, tomorrow in Lethbridge, 6 o'clock Mountain, 8 o'clock Eastern. So 3 games to keep your eyeballs on tonight. Thanks to Greg Wyshynski, as always, for stopping by, as he does Tuesdays and Thursdays here on the program. And with that, I'll take my whatever is left of my voice up to get a cup of tea upstairs here. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks for the buns and the use of the hall, as we like to say around these parts. We'll talk to you tomorrow. It is Wednesday, so that means let's get ready to grumble with Brian Burke. And then we'll do something after Brian. Not quite sure yet. Oh, I know what we're going to do with Brian. We're going to talk to Brian about something that Gabby and I talked about on the Hockey Lifers, and that is who's allowed to talk to players on the ice? Is it only the players? Is it the coaches as well? Yes or no? We'll talk to Brian about that tomorrow, amongst other topics from the GM perspective with Brian Burke. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the hockey tonight. We will talk tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern on the sheet. Jeff Merrick along with you. Hope you enjoyed the program today. If you did, or maybe even if you didn't, they can't all be gems, folks. Please hit the subscribe button. Also a reminder, every morning, 9 a.m. Eastern, Johnny Lazarus, Colby Cohen, I call them the Impact Players. You might know them as a tandem that makes up the Morning Cup of Hockey. Also DFO Live at noon Eastern. This year, your host Tyler Yaremchuk alongside Carter Hutton. Full day's worth of programming right here on Daily Faceoff, your favorite YouTube hockey channel. And as a reminder as well, Zach Phillips, our producer here for the sheet, said if you subscribe, he'll buy you a puppy.